Yes, you know, I could do that on the other portion of the tape. We had $5 left that we could start farming with. And in April of 1940, I was promoted to the captain in the infantry. I was called to active duty then at Fort Benning, Georgia for 30 days in April of 1940. This is right after I got my promotion. Then again I was ordered to active duty again as a captain at Fort Snelling in July of 1940, and again was ordered to active duty as a captain at Fort Snelling this is April of 1940. I haven't got everything in just right order here. Then in the fall, in September, I was called to active duty with the Civilian Conservation Corps again, which is probably a lucky thing. We had all the cattle, and we had sheep, and we had 100 head of sheep, and 10, 12 cows, and 2, 3 pigs, 4 or 5 pigs. And we got an older guy and his wife to take care of the farm when we were on our tour of active duty with the Civilian Conservation Corps. Ole Edwardsons was the name of the people that took care of the farm for us. He got let's see now, I paid him $100 a month, I guess, to take care of the cattle and sheep and so forth. It was we run it from, my dad I gave him power of attorney, and he run the farm for us while we were in the Civilian Conservation Corps. When we were down there we were at Deer River. We were ordered to Deer River. And while I was at Deer River, I took a Red Cross first aid course for instructor. This is held at Bena, Minnesota. I got my first aid instructor's course certificate December of 1940. Incidentally, when we moved into the house out there on the farm, the porch fell off the house. I didn't realize that the porch wasn't passed on as good as it was, but it's a great big cast iron cook stove, and by gosh, the porch tore away from the house when we were putting the stove in the house. It was kind of that is a experience all by itself too. When you move a electric stove in, or a gas stove now, well, you haven't got the weight that you had in those great big cast iron stoves. They were real heavy, man alive. It was just, I wouldn't know just what. They were at least 300, 400 pounds. The one we had was quite a bit bigger than the most of them. Then again, I completed more of the infantry school courses. I've completed 40-7 troop movements and shelter, and 40-8 is troop leading, and 40-10 was infantry and special operations. Before we moved to Minnesota, prior to, well, early in the spring, I got an FHA loan for $1,920. And then for this $1,920, we bought 100 sheep and 15 cows, 4 horses, and what have you. Then I still had money enough left over, so I built a shed-type barn, 28 by 70, across the slough from where the house was located. So I had good protection for the cattle. Only the people that lived there would know what I'm talking about when it's across the slough. But anyhow, it is down in the woods where there's good protection anyway. And it is real nice. Then in 1940 we were ordered to Fort Snelling for a physical, and I didn't pass because I had too much fat around my heart. I'd sat around too much in the CC camps, and I didn't was too much fat around my heart. But I had never had any heart problems all these years. Gosh, what is this now then? About 43 years later. 1941, we were still down there at Deer River. No, Cass Lake. I bought traded 1935 Ford for 1940. And the car cost $400. It was a year old. In real nice shape, very few miles on it, and we enjoyed lots of miles in that thing. Arlene was born January 2nd of 41. She was baptized on January 6th of 41 on a Thursday at 5:30 in the afternoon. Then I completed more of the Army Extension courses. 40-5 was mobilization of the infantry, and 40-4 was Rifle Company and offensive combat, and 30-10 is training management. Then I bought a quarter of land from my dad, paid $1,000 for it. So I bought that before we got out of the Civilian Conservation Corps. But it's kind of things were increasing as far as real estate was concerned. I had $500 tied up in that first land transaction, and then $1,000 in the other one, which gave us 280 acres for what was it, $1,500. That's a far cry from what you pay for land nowadays. On May 9th of 1942, I was discharged. I was honorably discharged in the Officers Reserve Corps in the rank of captain. Then I was ordered back in as a subaltern. That's a title that they put on the second in command of the Civilian Conservation Corps. I was ordered the second February 10th of 42. I was transferred as a subaltern to Cass Lake, Minnesota. We moved to Terry, Montana to close up a CC camp there in the spring of 42 from Cass Lake, Minnesota. We put all our belongings in a boxcar, all our household goods and whatever. So we done when we moved from Cass Lake to Terry, we just went out there in a car without any equipment of any kind. So that was we had to wait a day or so for the boxcar to get there, so we could get our household goods and rent a house and get set up in housekeeping out there before we went to work. Arthur was born on a Wednesday, April 29th of 1942, and was baptized August 7th of 42 out of Terry, Montana. And while I was out there, I was promoted to company commander. That is a title. Instead of a captain, the title was company commander when I was ordered to Montana. Donald, or Nellie, Donald's wife, was born in Louisiana, December 16, 1942. I guess he isn't married to her anymore now. In 1943, I renewed my Red Cross instructor's course, January 1st of 43. And incidentally, I shot my first deer in January of 43. Just went up in the hills, sat behind a rock, and let a whole string of them go by me. Picked out the one I wanted.